Ever scroll through Netflix and get that, like, kind of creepy feeling that it knows exactly what you want to watch next?
Yeah, totally.
That's AI, subtly but surely making decisions for us, and it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Today, we're going deep on AI, but not the sci-fi stuff. We're talking about how AI is quietly revolutionizing the way decisions are being made in finance, hiring, even at the government level. It's way bigger than just picking your next binge watch, right?
Absolutely. This is about the stuff that really impacts our lives.
Exactly. And to guide us through this, we've got this super insightful article titled The Growing Role of AI in Decision-Making. So let's dive in. First up, finance. We all know banks use data, right?
Right.
But this article goes beyond that. It digs into how AI is becoming the brains behind decisions about, well, something as important as getting a loan.
Yeah, and you know how we always hear about algorithms in banking? Well, this article points out this interesting shift in language.
Oh, interesting.
Banks are moving away from algorithms and embracing the term AI instead.
Huh. So what's the difference?
It's subtle, but I think it says a lot about how they want to be seen. They're relying more and more on AI for these really complex tasks, like evaluating loan applications, assessing risk, all that.
Right.
But they're hesitant to shove it in customers' faces, you know?
So it's like they want the efficiency and the insights of AI, but without freaking everyone out.
Exactly. They want to have their AI cake and eat it too.
I like that.
Maintain that image of, the human touch, personalized service.
So are we even aware of how much AI is already calling the shots on our finances?
That's the question, isn't it? And it gets even more interesting when you think about how this invisible hand of AI is reaching into other areas of our lives,
Like what?
like our careers, for example.
Okay, yeah, hiring. Everyone's talking about AI revolutionizing how we get jobs. But this article doesn't sugarcoat it. It says straight up, AI is not a magic bullet for hiring woes.
It all comes down to data, right? The article really emphasizes that the effectiveness of AI in hiring is directly tied to the amount of data you can feed it.
Makes sense.
Large companies, they've got mountains of data on past applicants, employee performance, all that. So for them, AI can be amazingly helpful, like incredibly valuable, for identifying the best candidates.
Okay.
But smaller companies, they often don't have those vast data troves.
Right, right. So where does that leave them?
That's where the limitations become clear. AI can only be as good as the data it learns from.
So it sounds like AI is more of a powerful tool for hiring rather than a total replacement for human judgment, at least for now.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Think of it as augmenting human capabilities, not eliminating them.
Okay, so like AI is a helper, not a replacement.
Exactly. It can help streamline the initial screening process,
Right.
identify patterns, surface potential candidates that might have been overlooked.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But even with AI just assisting, aren't there still some big questions about fairness and all that?
Oh, absolutely. And the article dives right into those concerns. A crucial one is bias.
Okay, right. Bias in hiring, that's a big one.
And we're not just talking about human bias. We're talking about the potential for bias within the AI algorithms themselves.
Whoa, so the AI itself could be biased.
It's possible. If the data used to train these AI systems contains existing biases from, say, previous hiring practices, those biases can actually be amplified, not eliminated.
So instead of fixing the problem, AI could make it worse.
It's a real concern. It's like, are we using AI to make hiring fairer, or are we unintentionally embedding those biases even deeper?
That's a question we really need to grapple with, as AI plays a larger role in shaping our careers. But before we get too deep into that, let's zoom out and look at how AI is being used on an even grander scale by governments. So we've talked about AI making decisions about loans and jobs, but get this, it gets even wilder.
Yeah.
This article dives into how governments around the world are looking to AI to tackle these huge, complex problems, stuff way beyond the, everyday governance.
Right. We're talking about issues that have stumped experts for decades. Things with massive data sets and interconnected variables.
Exactly. And the article highlights how AI is uniquely suited to handle that kind of complexity.
It's like, imagine trying to predict global conflicts, right?
Right.
Or manage resources during a pandemic.
Or even just understanding the long-term impacts of climate change.
Huge, complicated problems that humans haven't been able to solve on our own.
And that's where AI comes in.
Exactly. AI can analyze those mountains of data, spot patterns that humans might miss, maybe even find solutions we haven't even thought of yet.
It's like giving policymakers this whole new set of tools, right? Tools they can use to make smarter, more informed decisions.
Exactly. And the article uses this fascinating example of how AI could be used to analyze geopolitical tensions.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
So instead of relying solely on human analysts, imagine feeding massive amounts of data into an AI system, right?
Hmm.
News reports, social media trends, economic indicators, all of it.
And the AI could then, like, connect the dots and spot early warning signs of conflict.
Exactly. It'd be like this super powered early warning system for potential global hotspots.
That's kind of mind-blowing. But is the idea to eventually replace human analysts altogether, or is it more about AI being a tool to help them do their jobs better?
That's the key point. It's not about replacing humans, it's about augmentation.
Augmentation. Okay, so like AI being a sidekick, not taking over the whole show.
Precisely. It's like giving these analysts a superpower, amplifying their abilities, letting them see the bigger picture more clearly.
Okay, I like that. So instead of replacing analysts, we're talking about AI working behind the scenes
Yeah.
to make those analysts even sharper, more insightful.
Exactly. Imagine a human analyst might be able to read a few dozen reports or analyze a limited set of data, but AI can process millions of data points in seconds.
Wow, so it's about leveraging the strengths of both humans and machines to solve these big problems.
Exactly. It's a powerful combination.
It really is, but with all this talk about governments and AI, it's hard not to think about the potential downsides too, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Like any powerful tool, AI has to be used responsibly, ethically.
And that's not always a guarantee, especially when you have different countries racing to develop these
I mean,
technologies.
it's like a whole new kind of arms race.
Exactly. The article even mentions this thing in the UK. They're developing their own AI system called BritGPT.
Yeah. The BritGPT initiative. It's fascinating to see how countries are starting to view AI as a matter of national security, not just some cool tech thing.
It's like who controls the best AI controls the future or something.
It's definitely a possibility we need to consider, especially as AI becomes more sophisticated. And speaking of powerful players in the AI world, we can't ignore China.
Right. The article doesn't shy away from that. China is going all in on AI.
They are. Massive investments, ambitious goals. They're definitely a force to be reckoned with in this emerging landscape.
And that makes you wonder, what does it mean for the rest of the world if China becomes the dominant force in AI? What does that mean for global influence and power dynamics? So where does China fit into all of this? The article paints a pretty vivid picture of how their AI ambitions could really shake things up on the global stage.
It's about more than just economic dominance at this point.
Right, it's bigger than that.
The article suggests that China's strategic focus on AI could mean a huge shift in geopolitical power in the coming decades.
It's like, we're not just talking about who has the most gadgets or the fastest internet anymore.
Not at all. This is about who sets the rules of the game, who controls the flow of information, who ultimately shapes how this incredibly powerful technology gets used on a global scale.
Okay, so going back to that idea of an AI race, it sounds like it's way more complicated than just who gets the most advanced tech first.
Exactly. It's not just a sprint to the finish line. We're talking about a multifaceted competition with huge implications for, well, everything, really. Economics, security, global leadership, you name it.
Which brings us back to that big question. What does it even mean to win this AI race? Is it about having the most powerful algorithms, the biggest companies?
That's the real question, isn't it? The article hints at this idea that maybe true leadership in AI isn't about dominance at all.
Interesting. So what is it about then?
Maybe it's about responsibility, about collaboration, about a shared vision for how we can use AI to actually solve the world's biggest problems, not just create new ones.
It's like we're at this crazy point in history where we've got this incredibly powerful tool, but we're still trying to figure out the instruction manual.
And that's why it's so important to have these conversations now while things are still taking shape.
Absolutely. So we've talked about AI in finance, hiring, government, even on a global scale.
Yeah.
A lot to wrap our heads around.
It really is. But if there's one thing I want listeners to take away from this, it's that AI isn't some far-off fantasy. It's here, it's changing the world as we speak, and it's impacting our lives in ways we're just starting to understand.
And it's only going to get more intertwined with our lives, right?
Exactly.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive, to say the least.
It has.
We've explored the potential of AI, the risks, the implications for the future. It's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's essential that we do think about it. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's a story that's still being written, and we all have a say in how it unfolds.
That's a great point to end on. So, to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of AI and decision making. Keep asking those tough questions, keep digging for answers, and most importantly, keep your minds open to the incredible possibilities and, yes, the potential challenges that AI brings to our world. Until next time, stay curious.